started with an attempted traffic stop, turned into a chase, ended in a ditch for two police officers and the driver of what turned out to be a stolen car they were pursuing.
Until they hit this curve, and then the curve was so much that they lost control and wrecked into the ditch.
Both cars in the ditch. The police car, though, flipped several times. 33-year-old officer Jason Roy was wearing a seatbelt but was partially out of the car when it rolled. The fire department had to free the two officers.
Officer Roy is going into surgery as we speak. He does have a serious neck injury caused by the fact that the patrol car rolled multiple times. While he has been alerted talking to us, we are certainly concerned about his long-term prognosis.
He has temporary paralysis. We hope it's temporary. Well, he's a big, stout boy, and when you're a big and stout boy like that, and you can't feel anything from your neck below right after an accident, it scares you. He was scared, which scares us.
Both officers have been on the department for a little over 5 years. Very energetic, enthusiastic, and just fine police officers. If their injuries would allow them to, they would be back at work tonight. Both families have described them as such, that HPD and being a police officer is their life, is their livelihood. They love it, it's their calling.
The police chaplain was with the family, and a lot of praying and fingers crossed, and he's got a very nice family, mother, father, his girlfriend, and small baby child. So it's just everybody's on pins and needles waiting to see what the outcome of the surgery is going to be.
An outcome no one expected after a traffic stop. Again, Officer Roy just got out of surgery. We're told that he is in serious condition and that his rehab will be lengthy.
The day we got that call, we were just sitting at the station watching TV, man, and the call came in, assist PD, and we read the notes. It says a police officer involved in an accident, and so quite naturally that make us move a little faster, you know, so we get a little bit more anxious to go help out. And to be honest with you, man, we pulled up on location. The ambulance, I was on the fire truck, engine 55. And when we pulled up on location, the ambulance was already there. And I seen Officer Roy. When I first seen him, I could kind of just looking at Officer Roy and then looking at my partner, one of my coworkers that was on the ambulance, he turned around and just kind of walked off kind of in a hurry, you know, kind of hastened. I looked at Officer Roy and I'm like, man, he might not have made it. You know, so first thing I'm thinking, he didn't make it. The reason I say that is because the way the car looked, it was in a ditch, kind of up high, but the way the car looked is like the whole driver's side of the car was just mashed down, and then you see Officer Roy kind of sticking out of the car, and then you seen all the damage to it, the major damage to his head, you know, and you can tell he didn't really have a whole lot of functions of it on his own. You know, so my first initial was he ain't with us no more. That was an incident where they started cutting the windshield away from the car, where we had to put a sheet over his head, and for some reason that got him really upset with us. You know what I'm saying? And so while I'm holding his chin and trying to hold his scalp together from bleeding so bad, I'm just asking him. You know, I'm just explaining to him why we covering his face. You know. We're gonna get all your help we can get you, but we gotta cover your face so we won't get out. And then that kind of calmed him down. I could tell him talking to me helped him calm down because of the way I explained it to him what we were doing. And it was one of the worst wrecks I've seen.
In the past hour, HPD says the officer came out of surgery. We are told it went well. But Roy, we are told, will have to undergo some physical therapy, rehabilitation, but it's going to take a lot of time to discover the extent of his injuries.
Hi, I'm Dr. Berliner, Jason Roy's doctor. He was evacuated and taken to Memorial Hermann and surgery was performed. At that time, he had multiple fractures in his neck and his cervical spine and his thoracic spine. He also fractured many ribs. And one of the main arteries in your neck that goes to your brain was also severed. He underwent multiple surgical procedures at Memorial Hermann. And when he was stabilized, he was transferred here to Tier Memorial Hermann, where he began his inpatient process of rehabilitation. Right from the onset, Mr. Roy had an incredible attitude. His attitude was a can-do attitude. I can do this, I can get through this, and I'm going to get through this. He showed lots of heart and lots of determination in a very long process that started in May, and he's still going through rehabilitation today. When he first came in, he was barely moving any muscles in his legs, and he was moving, his right side was much stronger than his left side in his arms. And as he continued to progress, you could just see the determination, the hard work, and with the help of many physical therapists, occupational therapists, nurses, doctors, and a whole team approach at Tier, we really helped him, and he helped himself pull through to the man he is today. So to come through an injury like this takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. It takes lots of good therapy, and it takes lots of determination. There's lots of ups and lots of downs. It's a will. It's a will to get through this. And so we'll say that this won't defeat me, that I'm going to defeat this. And also, not only is it that, because lots of people don't recover, so it's also through the grace of God.
I heard the phone ring, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just couldn't really believe it, because his dad was telling me, and I was trying to ask if it was really something wrong with him. I mean, seriously. And he said he didn't know. And I was really shaken and upset, because I didn't want to think the worst. And when I got there, I saw the chief of police, and I saw the mayor, and I'm thinking, oh, this is something really serious. And I asked him if my son was okay, and they told me that they didn't really know the extent of his injuries and what have you. So I went into a room over to the left in the hospital, and what I saw just made my heart drop, to my feet, because I saw his uniform, and I saw it ripped and torn, and I saw blood, but I didn't see my son. And they were trying, I guess, to be as ingratiating as they possibly could be, because they didn't want me, they didn't want to speculate on the intensity of his injuries. I was really becoming emotional, and I can just so very well remember that they told me my son was critically injured, and I had no idea that he was paralyzed at the time. But we went into a waiting room, and they allowed me to see him before he went into surgery, because they had to rush him into surgery. When I saw him, my knees felt so weak, I really just almost fell to the floor. But I was trying to be strong for him, and I did not want him to know the extent of his injury. He told me, he said, "Mom, does my head look okay?" And I had to lie and say, "Yeah, baby, it's okay." But I didn't know how they were going to repair that gash that his head was separated. And so they wheeled him on in, and that was the last. And I tried to be strong and hold my eyes open and not show any tears, but I can feel the emotion now, just rushing through my veins, because it was really serious. And we waited and prayed and stayed until he came out of surgery.
When I got word of it, it was like, J. Roy had died. And, to know that, it was like, nah, this can't happen. this has to be a mistake. So, once I got word, a lot of people was calling me. It was so different. It was so many different stories. Like Jason Roy had died in the crash. Jason Roy is on life support. Jason Roy been mangled. Jason Roy been this. You just never knew, what the actual real story was that moment at the time. So, that morning, once I got that call, I immediately got dressed. Went to the hospital. Pretty much everybody was there. His whole family, family and friends were there, and we were all just in the waiting room at the hospital. At that moment, it was just like one of those, moments where something just hit you like that, and it's like, wow, was he dead? Was he still alive? And if he's alive, the doctors were saying he may never walk again. He may be paralyzed. So once you get those type of descriptions as far as how a person is after a crash, it's like, your mind starts going into a trance. And then it's like, okay, wow, the guy that we know, how we look at him or how we accept him as being a paraplegic. Everybody knew J. Roy as a big, hefty, muscle-bound Superman, Incredible Hulk type guy. From seeing and knowing that to now knowing he's a paraplegic, man, that's something that's hard to swallow.
And then when I found out everything that happened and the prognosis was grim, but it's him who 2 times he's cheated death. Unbelievable. Anybody that can survive something like that would be Jason. Strong Jason. I don't know what I would have done if I lost him, because he is my rock.
Accident left him temporarily paralyzed from the neck down. But just 2 months later, a Houston police officer has made a miraculous recovery. Officer Jason Roy has beaten the odds, and now he's on the verge of another major milestone. KHOU 11 News reporter Rux Russell just spoke with the officer. Rux joins us live in the Texas Medical Center, where the officer has been recovering. Rux?
Well, I tell you what, a couple of months ago, Jason Roy didn't know if he would survive, let alone walk again, but he credits doctors here at TIR and his faith in God for giving him back his life. It's easy to smile when breathing alone is itself a gift.
I couldn't move. I couldn't walk.
Officer Jason Roy, a 5-year veteran of the Houston Police Department, was fortunate just to be alive. This mangled mess, the aftermath of a high-speed chase and a violent crash in early May. Officer Roy's car flipped several times, leaving him temporarily paralyzed from the neck down.
I remember when we started to flip, thought in my head, like, when were we going to stop? And I prayed to God to save me. I asked for forgiveness of my sins.
What he was given was another chance at life at TIR, where weeks of physical therapy have produced the kind of progress even some experts are surprised to see so soon.
He just doesn't give up, and he pushes himself, and he, in therapy, he'll be like, all right, Jason, Roy, I can do this, I can do this.
Now that I can walk now, and I got a range of motion in my arm now, I feel a lot better, and I'm ready for my next journey.
A journey that could begin as early as this week, when he walks from TIR, the first step toward reclaiming his old life and his old job.
I just thank God every day for waking up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A gift he's reminded of every time he smiles.
Thank you.
Now, this is not Officer Roy's first time to be treated here at TIR. He was here about 15 years ago following another bad traffic accident. Now, if all goes well, he should walk out of this place sometime tomorrow, and he's looking forward to getting back on the beat as a cop as soon as doctors give him the green light.
He had some severe pain and some severe injuries, but yet he endured, and he's still enduring to this point. And he always will. We're strong-willed. I just thank God for being there for us.
That you can go back and just take a look. Just go back and take a look of those chapters in his life and everything that he's been through and you know, and all the things that he's overcome. He's an inspiration.
I never thought that being involved in something like this would change my life, but it did. I thought that this was where I was going to end my life. I thought that this was it. I thought my life was over. And I just, you know, I didn't know how I was going to make it out alive. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I didn't know where to turn. I thought about giving up. But then I thought about my son. I had to be here for him. I prayed. Who would have thought to live the life of my dreams I would have to lose the life of my